Sanibonani guys, and welcome back. You have seen why meiosis is important in organisms that reproduce sexually. Meiosis exists to produce gametes or sex cells. This process is called gametogenesis. Spermatogenesis is the production of male gametes or sperm cells. Oogenesis is the production of female gametes or egg cells, also known as ova. The singular of ova is ovum. A common error that many learners make is to say that meiosis happens in sex cells or gametes. This is wrong. Meiosis happens in sex organs to produce sex cells or gametes. Gametogenesis does not only happen in animals, it also happens in plants. In plants, meiosis happens in the antherlobes. The anthers produce pollen grains which contain the sperm cells or male gametes. Meiosis also happens in the ovary of the flower. The female gametes, or ovum, are produced. We will look at both processes of spermatogenesis and oogenesis as they take place in humans. You will also need to refer back to this information later in the year when we study the human reproduction. Spermatogenesis takes place in the testes of the male organism. Specialized cells undergo meiosis to produce the haploid sperm cells. This process happens continually after puberty has begun. It is controlled by the hormones in the male body. This is a simplified scheme to illustrate the process of spermatogenesis. Cells which form the lining of the testes produce what are called sperm mother cells by the process of mitosis. The sperm mother cells are diploid, the same as the cells lining the testes. The sperm mother cells divide many times by mitosis to produce spermatogonia. Many spermatogonia are produced, and just after the mitotic division, they are rather small cells. They grow in size, and when they are at their largest, they are known as primary spermatocytes. The primary spermatocytes then undergo the first meiotic division. The cells that they produce are known as secondary spermatocytes. The secondary spermatocytes undergo the second meiotic division immediately. There is no long interphase period. The one division process flows directly into the next division process. After the second meiotic division, the resulting haploid and non-identical cells are called spermatids. The spermatids each have a short period of maturation and differentiation. At the end of this brief period, they have changed their shape into the typical structure of the sperm cell. When we study human reproduction later, you will see how the sperm are released from the testes. Oogenesis takes place in the ovaries of the female organism. Specialized cells undergo meiosis to produce the haploid egg cells. This is a simplified scheme to illustrate the process of oogenesis. When the female organism is still a developing fetus, not yet born, specialized cells on the surface of the ovary divide to form primary oocytes within primary follicles. These primary oocytes remain dormant until the female reaches adolescence. At this time, hormones trigger the primary oocytes to undergo the first meiotic division. However, unlike spermatogenesis, where thousands of primary spermatocytes undergo meiosis at the same time, in oogenesis, only one primary oocyte undergoes meiosis once every month. Remember that two cells are produced at the end of the first meiotic division. In oogenesis, there is an unequal distribution of cytoplasm, and one of the cells is rather a lot larger than the other cell. The tiny cell is called a polar body, and the larger cell is called the secondary oocyte. Both cells will then undergo the second meiotic division. The polar body produces two more tiny polar bodies, and the secondary oocyte produces a third polar body, and a larger cell called the ovum. It is the ovum that will leave the ovary at the time of ovulation and will be fertilized by any sperm cell that may be present. But you will learn more about that later in the year when we look at human reproduction. For now, you should know how the gametes are produced by gametogenesis. Okay guys, you're going to be going into a quiz. Good luck, and I'll see you right after.